Text on screen. Ready, New York. What's your plan? Hindsight is 2020. Harold speaks to us from a dark room.
I got home early for a change, and I remember standing outside under this bright blue sky.
Harold closes the trunk of his car and looks at the sky.
And the news was talking about this hurricane for days. But from where I was standing, it didn't seem like there was a storm coming at all.
The sky appears peaceful.
My wife Tracy was still at work, Ella was at soccer practice, and my son Joey had gone to a friend's house after school. I figured I had the whole afternoon to myself. Hey, Harold! But my neighbor Sam saw I was home, and he yelled out to me.
Sam calls him over to his car.
Everyone refers to him as Mr. Prepared.
Flashback to them going over supplies and a map of evacuation centers.
About a month earlier, Sam showed me a supply kit he was putting together for stay-at-home emergencies and a go bag that he might need in the event that he ever had to rush out of his house during a fire or other evacuation. The go bag, as he called it, held all the essentials that he needed if he had to leave home in a hurry or for a few days. I remember thinking it was a good idea, but I just never got around to it.
Sam's family gets ready to leave.
Anyway, Sam was packing up his car, and he said I should do the same. Well, the forecast was predicting that the hurricanes would hit hard enough to flood all the houses along the coast, and we had been ordered to evacuate by 8:30 p.m. to allow plenty of time before the storm hit. I suddenly started to believe all the news reports.
Warning messages pop up on Sam's phone.
Sam was signed up with Notify NYC, so he was automatically getting text messages about the storm. Then he asked me, "Where's your family?" And I think that's when I began to worry.
They part ways.
I went back home with a sick feeling in the pit of my stomach, but I still didn't want to believe that this storm would hit so hard.
Harold goes into his home as the sky becomes more overcast.
We had been through a lot of storm warnings before, and it just seemed like a bunch of hype. We always came out fine.
He looks out the window to see stormy conditions.
In hindsight, I should have been paying more attention, because the next time I looked outside, the weather was threatening. My wife and my daughter got home, and I reassured them we'll be safe if we stayed inside.
Harold speaks to his family and makes a phone call.
My son was supposed to be home by 4:30, but by 5 o'clock, I still hadn't heard anything from him. I tried calling his friend's house, but by then, the local phone lines were all tied up, and I couldn't get through to anybody. We were all worried about Joey, and I felt like I needed to go and try to find him, but I couldn't leave Tracy and Ella alone. There's nothing worse than knowing that your child could be in danger, especially when you know that you could have prevented it.
Harold looks about, distraught.
The time to help Joey was months before the storm.
Flashback to Joey and Harold happily watching a game.
I could have made a plan with him about what to do in an emergency, who to contact, where to go. That one conversation could have made all the difference.
Harold answers the door to see some volunteers.
It must have been around 8 o'clock when emergency workers knocked on our door and told us we had to go, now. I still hadn't heard anything from Joe.
Harold goes to get his family.
The hurricane was approaching and the storm surge would flood our home. We left with nothing but the shirts on our back.
They all put on jackets.
Headed for a bus station so we can get to the nearest shelter. We were lucky. Very, very lucky.
They walk into a shelter and approach the check-in
We
desk.
were cold, tired, but we made it to safety.
They sit on cots looking worried.
And my son?
A Red Cross worker leads him through the shelter.
He made it to the same shelter with the family of the friends we had been with.
Joey lights up as he sees his father.
Seeing him was the biggest relief of my life.
They embrace lovingly.
I just broke down. At that moment, I promised myself I'd be better prepared for future catastrophes.
Joey sleeps as his father looks on.
We were thankful to be in a safe place. But that first night at the hurricane shelter was rough on the kids because we didn't have any clean clothes or any activities for them. And when you know it, there was Sam, Mr. Prepared.
Sam waves.
Each person in his family came with their own go bag. And they had extra clothes, blankets, toiletries, snacks, books, and games for the kids.
Sam calls them over.
And Sam was nice enough to share, which made a big difference for us.
The family sit together and talk.
When we're finally able to return home, we found all of our windows broken and a lot of flood damage. We lost almost everything in that hurricane.
The family gathers their emergency supplies at home on a sunny day.
We were able to repair the damage eventually, but there were photos and documents that we can't ever replace. Now, we keep those things in plastic crates, elevated off the floor, and we keep copies of our most important documents in portable, waterproof containers that fit in our go bags. Part of being prepared also means that we have a plan. Everyone in my immediate and extended family knows about it and knows how to execute it, including the kids. We know our evacuation zone, and if this ever happens again, we'll know when to go and where to go. Our plan A is to stay with my best friend Rick. He has a house in the Bronx, located in a safe area well outside of the evacuation zones. Plan B is to head to the evacuation center.
Harold observes a map of evacuation zones with his daughter.
All of our family members know to communicate with us through social media and to call my brother Vic in Denver.
Tracy and Joey look at a laptop. The family speaks on the phone.
Having an out-of-state contact can allow us to pass on messages, even if local phone lines are busy. My family also knows to check the Office of Emergency Management's website for information. And we're all signed up for Notify NYC for fast and reliable emergency updates.
Mother and son look at the website together.
Now my neighbors call me Mr. Prepared, and that's a good thing, because being prepared is the best way to protect my family.